Hi, it's Andy again. Another week, another sermon teaser. And this week, as we continue Route 66, we're moving our way pretty well through the Old Testament, just a few books to go, and we're in a very familiar book, or at least a familiar story to many people. Perhaps a story that might have been one of the first that you may have heard in the Bible if you've grown up in church or if you've heard many stories. That's the story of Jonah, from the book of Jonah. It's a short book, a very short read, and records some very, very interesting things. Most people will know he spent 3 days and nights in the belly of a fish, presumably a whale, many might think. But, well, one thing that we just don't know, what none of us really know, is what happened to Jonah. I mean, one minute he's in a fish, and the next minute he's prophesying to this town, and the next minute he's challenging God, and the next minute God answers him, and then it just stops. It's done. We don't know what happened. And yet, interestingly, Jesus, some 700, 800 years later, brings this man up in the midst of a conversation when the people around him say, "Show us a sign of what's to come." And he said, "I'll give you one sign, and that is the sign of Jonah." He says that in Matthew chapter 12. I wonder why Jesus said that. Perhaps, like many things Jesus said, it would have been shocking to the people. Why might it have been shocking? Well, we might look back on Jonah as a nice lesson for us and as a challenge to do evangelism and all those things, but I wonder how the Israelites saw it. I wonder if they thought highly of Jonah for going to the enemy. Maybe it was considered an act of treason. One of the things we'll look at this week, certainly we'll look at the book of Jonah, but what might have happened? That treasonous act, many like some in the news here, even lately in our own environment, our own culture today in the U.S., we've been hearing stories about Edward Snowden and Bradley Manning and others. If you think back, the history of our country was founded on treasonous act by people who we now hold up as heroes. Well, I wonder if that was true of Jonah. It was of Jesus. And maybe if we're bold in our speech, speaking out for God, I wonder if it'll be true of us one day as well. Well, I hope you'll join us this week. I think it'll be a little bit different, but I think it might challenge us to consider how Jonah may have felt if and when he may have returned to Israel. I hope to see you Sunday.